The hero of Parkland shooting dubbed Iron Man refused huge honor, Hateful Hogg eagerly accepts. Every tragedy always involves everyday heroes who step up and save the day for average Americans. The Parkland, Florida shooting was no different. There were many heroes that day, several of whom never sought the spotlight. Unlike some students who have been dominating the headlines. One victim of the Parkland, Florida shooting, in particular, was recently released from the hospital after having been shot multiple times by the shooter. While he was meant to be recognized for his bravery, he turned it down and downplayed his heroism. Instead, others stood up in his place to try and take credit. The Army News reported. A survivor of the Florida school shooting nicknamed Iron Man for his efforts to save classmates said he did not want to be labeled a hero, as his family announced a lawsuit against authorities. Anthony Burgess, 15, was shot in both legs and the back by Nicholas Cruz, who opened fire at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland on February 14. Despite his injuries, the teenager managed to shut a door, preventing the shooter from entering the room where around 20 students were hiding. In doing so, he was shot twice more. "I don't know why I survived, but I will tell you that my family and I will dedicate the rest of our lives to seeing that something like this never happens again," Anthony said in a statement via his lawyer, Alex Ariza. Anthony, joined by Ariza, his father Royer Borges, his grandfather Alfredo and friend Carlos Rodriguez on Friday took part in a press conference in Plantation, north of Miami. He entered in a wheelchair, and still recovering after 9 surgeries and 7 weeks in a hospital, did not want to speak. "I know I am being called Iron Man. I am not, he said in the statement. "I am a 15-year-old who was shot 5 times. I am just a kid who wants to go back to school without being afraid." Borges also accused Broward County Sheriff Scott Israel and schools superintendent Robert Runcie of failing him, as they were unable to prevent Cruz from buying firearms and entering the school despite his erratic behavior. "You know he was a problem and you did nothing, he said. Ariza, who had already announced the lawsuit against Israel and Runcie, said he would file today or tomorrow against them, Nicholas Cruz and the executors of Cruz's mother's estate. "They damaged my son's soccer career," Royer Borges said, alleging it took 38 minutes for authorities to get to his son after he was shot. The Borges family left Venezuela more than 15 years ago over political instability and fears over rampant crime. While we appreciate the efforts in Washington, D.C., Venezuela is a place where they have gorgeous marches with millions of people and nothing gets done, Ariza said, referencing the March for Our Lives in March. The family has decided that they're going to put their faith in American justice system. TheStar.com reported. Borges was among the most seriously wounded of the survivors. He was released from the hospital but then had to return last month to the intensive care unit after doctors detected a possible abdominal infection and an ulcer in his small intestine from the impact of one of the bullets, his father, Royer Borges, wrote on Facebook at the time. A third of his lung had to be removed and one bullet came close to his liver, according to NBC. When asked if he was lucky to be alive during the broadcast, Borges said yes. The interview also showed boxes of letters from strangers that the teen has received from around the world and his native Venezuela. Letters called him ganador, winner, luchador, fighter, and champion. The teen immigrated from Venezuela to South Florida 3 years ago. He played soccer at the Barca Academy in Fort Lauderdale, one of many youth programs operated by the powerhouse football club Barcelona in Spain. During the NBC broadcast, viewers could see a poster of the soccer team hanging from his window. In tweets about the story, he is holding a soccer ball in his home. The family of this young man has indicated they are conducting a lawsuit because they believe the shooting was the failure and responsibility of the Broward County Public Schools in addition to the principal and school resource officer who did nothing. The victim's father is upset that the shooting has prohibited his son from leading a successful soccer career. This is probably in part due to the fact that his medical bills are exceeding $1.5 million. However, online donation services have raised approximately $830,000. Before the shooting had occurred, deputies were warned over 12 times when they received calls about Cruz. Prior to going to Stoneman Douglas, Cruz had attended a school for kids with emotional and disciplinary problems before being given permission to transfer. However, after several negative incidents, Cruz was forced to leave Stoneman Douglas. The worst of it all, just prior to the shooting, the Federal Bureau of Investigation and the Sheriff's Office had gotten numerous phone calls from people who were concerned he would be an active shooter. Acts of courage and bravery are done by those who would do it regardless of anything else. This student did not do what he did for attention. Which is exactly why he is not seeking the attention of the spotlight. He should be applauded for his humble nature and his heroism. Share if you agree.